I spent $1,000 on this locker because I just had to have that pink scooter.
A door slams, a gavel hits, and just like that,
Update: from hidden treasures to unexpected fame.
the bid is final. But behind the lockers were secrets no one saw coming. One cast member vanished from the spotlight. Another spiraled after a shocking scandal. And someone faced a life-threatening illness. But did they survive? And one story doesn't have an ending. They once fought for abandoned storage units. But what they lost off camera was far more valuable. What really happened after the show ended? Who made it out rich? And who paid the ultimate price? This isn't just nostalgia. It's the untold fallout of reality television fame. And trust me, with Storage Wars, you're not ready for how it all ends. Okay, let's rewind for a second. A dusty storage unit. The lock gets cut. The doors creak open. And a crowd of hungry bidders holds their breath, wondering what's inside. Trash, or maybe treasure worth 6 figures. And that exact moment of high-stakes gamble is what turned Storage Wars into one of the most addictive reality television shows of the last decade. Premiering in 2010 on A&E, Storage Wars was like the Wild West of reality television. The concept was deceptively simple, but yet so genius. Basically, auctioneers Dan and Laura Dotson led a crew of sharp-tongued, larger-than-life buyers who battled it out for abandoned storage lockers. No one could open the unit beforehand. They could only peek from the outside, and that's where the drama started. The show mixed tension, treasure, and trash in just the right proportions, and it became a household favorite. But here's the real plot twist. It wasn't just about storage lockers. The cast brought the show to life with their bold and unforgettable personalities. There was the trash-talking villain, the laid-back collector everyone loved, the on-again, off-again couple, and a rotating lineup of quirky newcomers that kept things exciting. Storage Wars was reality television gold because it had everything we love. Drama, money, betrayal, big comebacks, and even a few unexpected tears. Now, was the show a hit? Definitely. In its heyday, Storage Wars pulled in millions of viewers per episode. It spawned spin-offs like Storage Wars Texas, Storage Wars New York, and even international adaptations. Fans couldn't get enough of the thrill. The show ran for over a decade, with 15 official seasons and a wild ride of cast changes, lawsuits, and real-life chaos along the way. But it wasn't always smooth sailing behind the scenes. In fact, drama spilled off-screen more than once. From Dave Hester's infamous lawsuit, where he exposed the show, to personal tragedies, health scares, and explosive relationship breakups, there was no shortage of headline-worthy chaos. Just when fans thought the story had ended, boom, a plot twist we didn't see coming. On March 5, 2025, A&E dropped the bombshell, announcing that Storage Wars is officially returning for a 16th season after years of speculation. While we don't know exactly who's returning to the cast or what kind of juicy drama will unfold, one thing is clear: the fans are ready. Reddit is buzzing. TikTok throwback clips are racking up millions of views. And the big question everyone's asking is, where are they now? Because while the storage units may have been silent, the cast members' lives have been anything but quiet. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into the wild, unpredictable, sometimes heartbreaking, sometimes inspiring lives of the Storage Wars cast. Number 10. Barry Weiss, The Collector's Journey. If there's one person from Storage Wars who effortlessly stole the spotlight without ever raising his voice or throwing a tantrum, it's Barry Weiss. Fans knew him as The Collector, but Barry wasn't just collecting antiques or hidden gems. He was collecting moments, personality points, and legions of fans who tuned in just to see what he'd wear, say, or drive next. Unlike most of his castmates, Barry didn't need to prove himself with aggressive bidding or trash talk because he had something far more powerful, which was his charm and style. Whether he rolled up in a vintage Cadillac, a tricked-out hot rod, or something you'd expect to see in a James Bond movie, Barry always made an entrance. His cool, calm demeanor and dry wit set him apart in a show that naturally thrived on chaos. While others were yelling over old furniture, Barry was cracking jokes and casually pulling priceless finds out of dusty boxes, and fans ate it up. Despite being a fan favorite, Barry left Storage Wars after just 4 seasons, but not because he couldn't keep up. Barry simply didn't need the spotlight. He'd already lived a full life even before the cameras showed up. A lifelong antiques enthusiast with deep industry roots, Barry joined the show more as a favor than a career move. But once he was on screen, audiences couldn't get enough. His departure left a noticeable void in the show's energy, but it also added to his mystique, because everyone wondered where Barry went and what he was doing. Then, in 2019, fans got a shocking answer. News broke that Barry had been in a serious motorcycle accident where he'd been struck by a car while riding through Los Feliz, California, and suffered major injuries, including broken bones and internal damage. For weeks, updates were scarce, causing rumors to circulate. Some fans feared the worst, but in true Barry fashion, he made his comeback with the same quiet cool he'd always carried. After spending months recovering, undergoing multiple surgeries, and taking time away from the public eye, Barry re-emerged, older, maybe, but still very much Barry. Since then, he hasn't jumped back into reality television, but that doesn't mean he's disappeared. Barry found passion in a new kind of spotlight. He became a brand ambassador for Sherwood Valley Casino in California, which was a fitting gig. Flashy, high stakes, and just the right amount of showbiz without the chaos of a reality set. He's also lent his voice to narration and commercial work, proving that, even off-camera, he knows how to command attention. What makes Barry Weiss's journey so compelling is that he's never tried to be a star. He just is one. His story isn't about chasing fame or reviving a career. It's about doing things on his own terms, staying true to who he is, and somehow managing to be both completely low-key and totally unforgettable at the same time. For fans of Storage Wars, Barry wasn't just the collector of collectibles. He was the collector of cool, and honestly, to date, he still is. But just when you think you've seen every kind of bidder, wait until you meet the duo who turned thrifting into an obsession and made fashion the fiercest game in town. Number 9. Edwina Registre and Shana Dahan, the Thrifters. When Edwina Registre and Shana Dahan stepped onto the Storage Wars scene in Season 11, they weren't just new faces, they were a total vibe shift. These two brought something completely different to the show's usual mix of intense bidding wars and locker room bravado. They were stylish, strategic, and so in sync, it was like watching a well-rehearsed duet. But what most people didn't know was that their chemistry didn't just come from the screen. It went way back. Edwina and Shana met in high school as viola players in the orchestra and bonded over something most teens overlooked, which was a love for thrifting. So while their peers were hitting the mall, these two were combing through racks at secondhand shops, turning what most would call junk into pure fashion gold. That early bond over vintage finds eventually became a lifelong passion and a brand called Thrifters Anonymous. Their appearance on Storage Wars gave fans a glimpse into their world. Yes, they were bidding on storage units, but their real strength was in the way they saw value where others didn't. Most buyers were searching for antiques or collectibles. However, Edwina and Shana had their eyes peeled for fashion treasures, rare pieces, and unique finds that could be flipped into wearable statements, making them not just buyers but curators. After their time on the show, they didn't fade into the background like some reality television stars do. Instead, they doubled down on what made them stand out: their platform, Thrifters Anonymous. Their YouTube channel became a home for their creative energy, showcasing everything from thrift hauls and style transformations to travel vlogs and candid chats. What makes their story so compelling is how natural it all feels. There's no forced image or overproduced content. It's just two best friends who turned a shared passion into something that resonated far beyond their living rooms. Whether it's a $5 blazer or a life lesson on confidence, Edwina and Shauna have built a following that's loyal not just because of what they wear, but because of who they are. Professionally, they both worked as insurance brokers, a fact that not a lot of fans are aware of. Their journey proves that you don't need to win every auction to win hearts. Sometimes, all it takes is a thrift store, a little imagination, and a best friend who sees the sparkle in the same dusty corner of the world that you do. Number 8. Dan and Laura Dotson, the auctioneering duo. If Storage Wars had a heartbeat, it was Dan and Laura Dotson. These two didn't just host the auctions, they were the auction. Dan's lightning-fast calling and Laura's sharp-eyed support created a rhythm that kept the show alive and crackling with energy. Their chemistry on the auction block was so natural, so synced up, it was like watching a well-oiled machine. But unlike many reality show pairs, Dan and Laura weren't just co-workers. They were the real deal, a real-life married couple with decades of auctioneering experience under their belts. Dan had been calling auctions since he was 11 years old, and Laura joined him not long after they met and became the queen of the auction circuit in her own right. On Storage Wars, Dan ran the mic while Laura worked the crowd, keeping the pace snappy and the bids rolling in. Their dynamic wasn't just entertaining, it was electric, and you could feel the tension build as Dan's voice climbed and Laura locked eyes with a bidder, ready to close a deal. So viewers weren't just tuning in for the lockers, they were also tuned in for them. Off camera, though, Dan and Laura were doing a lot more than just starring on a television show. They built a legit empire with their company, American Auctioneers, and what started as a small family business grew into a powerhouse that handles everything from estate sales to storage units across California and beyond. But they didn't stop there. They also launched StorageAuctions.net, an online hub where storage facilities and bidders can connect digitally. So even if you're nowhere near a live auction, you would still be able to join the action. The best part of it all was they never stepped away from the grind. Even after Storage Wars took a break, the Dotsons stayed booked and busy. And when the show made its big return for season 15, there they were, just like old times. Laura with her iconic line, "Don't forget to pay the lady," and Dan commanding the room like it was 2010 all over again. Their return wasn't just a throwback, but a reminder that the legends never really left. And while many of the show's stars had their fair share of off-screen drama, Dan and Laura kept things solid. They've gone through tough times, most notably when Dan suffered a double brain aneurysm back in 2014, one behind his eye and another in his neck. Laura was by his side through the entire ordeal, proving once again that their bond goes way beyond the auction block. At this point, Dan and Laura Dotson aren't just reality television personalities. They're industry icons. They've turned fast-talking and sharp instincts into a lasting legacy, showing fans and fellow auctioneers what real hustle looks like. And whether they're on television or behind the scenes running their businesses, one thing's for sure, the Dotsons still run the show. Number 7. Mary Padian, The Junkster's Adventures. Mary Padian, also known as the Junkster, captured hearts on the show with her unique blend of creativity and quirkiness, which made her a standout. If you watched the show, you know she wasn't just about bidding on storage units full of forgotten treasures. She's the kind of person who sees potential in a pile of discarded junk And that's where Mary's genius really shines. Whether it's turning an old, beat-up piece of furniture into a statement piece, or repurposing random odds and ends into something completely new, she's got an eye for transforming what others see as trash into treasure. But what makes Mary even more fascinating is the way she's managed to parlay her love for junk into an entire brand and a life that's full of meaning beyond just the hunt for hidden treasures. Since leaving Storage Wars, Mary hasn't slowed down one bit. In fact, she's turned her passion for upcycling into a thriving business called Mary's Finds. And the name says it all. It isn't just any business. It's a reflection of her personality.
Her store, Mary's Finds, started as a passion project, a boutique showcasing her flair for upcycling quirky vintage pieces.
It's all about finding those forgotten pieces that still have something left to give and giving them a second chance. From vintage furniture to old-school knickknacks, Mary knows how to spot something with potential. And she's built a loyal following of people who love what she does. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Mary did not just own a business. She was also a philanthropist who was constantly involved in giving back. So it's no surprise that Mary's got such a loyal following. People respect her not only for her talent and business savvy, but also for the kind of person she is off camera. She's built a life that reflects her values: hard work, creativity, and a genuine desire to make a difference. Number 6. Dave Hester, the mogul's story. The man, the myth, the legend, and yes, the one who made "yup" a phrase you couldn't forget. When Storage Wars first aired, it didn't take long for viewers to notice him. His bold attitude and unmistakable confidence quickly made him a standout on the show. But while the series was pulling in huge audiences, Dave wasn't in it just for fame. Sure, he loved the adrenaline of auctions, the intense bidding wars, and the chance to uncover hidden treasures. But he always had his sights set on something bigger than just being a television personality. With a sharp eye for valuable items and a no-nonsense business mindset, he became one of the most successful figures in the storage auction world. However, Dave's journey isn't just about wins and big finds. It's also a tale filled with controversy and legal drama, including a very public clash with Storage Wars itself. In 2012, Dave filed a lawsuit against A&E, the network behind Storage Wars, claiming the show was rigged. According to him, the producers planted valuable items in the storage units to make the show more exciting and to boost ratings. It was a bold claim that caught the attention of fans and the media alike. While the legal battle played out, the drama surrounding it became as much of a spectacle as the show itself. It wasn't just about the lawsuit, but about the idea that a major reality show might not be as real as it seemed. Eventually, Dave's lawsuit was dismissed, but it definitely left a lasting mark on his relationship with the show and its fans. But Dave didn't let the drama slow him down. Far from it, because he was the type of person who knows how to turn a setback into an opportunity. After leaving Storage Wars, Dave didn't disappear from the spotlight. Instead, he took his expertise and founded his own auction house called Dave Hester Auctions, a place where if you were looking to buy or sell some high-end, rare, or antique items, it was the perfect option. However, as of April 2025, this business is marked as closed on Yelp for reasons that aren't known to the public yet. Regardless, Dave's name still carries weight in the auction world, and he's used that influence to build a business that reflects his passion for the industry. His auction house wasn't just about selling junk, it was about curating valuable items with a keen eye and a deep understanding of the market. So, while you might have first seen Dave as the loud, competitive guy on television, today he's showing the world that there's more to him than just a catchphrase and a courtroom drama. Number 5. Jared Schultz, the controversial figure. Jared Schultz was never the quiet type on Storage Wars. From the jump, he and his then-partner Brandy were referred to as the Young Guns.
Bargainers are Jared and Brandy. They're new. That's why they're called the Young Guns in this business. So as far as their bargaining skills, none.
And not just because of their age. Jared came in with a bold attitude, slick confidence, and a natural knack for turning chaos into profit. He wasn't afraid to throw elbows during bidding wars or push back against the heavy hitters on the show. His presence added fire to every episode, especially when paired with Brandy Passante. Together, they were the unpredictable duo you couldn't take your eyes off. Half business partners, half reality television couples, and always one disagreement away from a meltdown. Beyond the cameras, Jared was hustling hard with business ventures of his own. He co-owned and operated Now and Then, a thrift and liquidation store that mirrored what fans saw him do on the show, which was turning forgotten junk into money. He positioned himself as the guy who didn't need a flashy reputation, just a good unit and the guts to bet on it. And while some cast members leaned into the entertainment factor, Jared made sure everyone knew he was about his bottom line. And for a while, that persona worked. He was gritty, ambitious, and unapologetically blunt. But things shifted dramatically when the show paused and personal lives took center stage. Fans were shocked in 2020 when it was revealed that Jared and Brandy had actually split back in 2018, even though they continued filming together for some time after. The breakup marked the beginning of a public unraveling that took Jared from the spotlight and into a much more controversial narrative. Following that revelation, a year later in 2021, he was charged with misdemeanor domestic violence after an altercation with Brandy at a bar in Orange County. According to reports, the confrontation turned physical, and police were called to the scene. However, Jared pleaded not guilty, but the damage to his image was already done. Since then, Jared has stayed mostly out of the public eye and hasn't been featured in recent seasons of Storage Wars, and unlike many of his former co-stars, he hasn't made an effort to maintain a strong social media presence or update fans on his life. His once bustling store closed in 2016 due to unprofitability, and there's been no official word on whether he plans to return to television or stick to private business. What makes Jared's story so complicated is that he was never just a villain or a hero, just somewhere in between. Ambitious, but impulsive, charismatic, but volatile. Jared's downfall left a shadow, but the next face brought a whole new light to the auction block. Young, sharp, and nothing like the rest, she changed the game completely. Number 4. Emily Wares, the young auctioneer. When she stepped into the high-stakes world of abandoned storage auctions, it wasn't just her youth that made her stand out. Emily was sharp and confident, and could command a room full of seasoned bidders with nothing but her auction chant and steely gaze. At a glance, you might have underestimated her because she looked young, fresh-faced, and seemingly quiet. But the second she grabbed that mic, it was clear that she wasn't here to play games. She brought a whole new energy to the series, one that balanced the chaos with precision and professionalism. Emily came from an auctioneer family, so this wasn't just a job, it was in her blood. By the time she joined Storage Wars in its later seasons, she already had years of experience and a string of auctioneering titles to her name, and fans quickly took to her. She didn't rely on gimmicks or drama. She brought skills. Her bilingual calling, rapid-fire delivery, and no-nonsense attitude instantly gave her credibility with viewers and castmates alike. She wasn't trying to compete with the loudest personality in the room. She was just doing what she does best, which was calling the shots and keeping the auction moving like a pro. When the cameras stopped rolling, Emily didn't slow down one bit. Instead, she leaned even harder into the world she loved, continuing her career as a full-time auctioneer, traveling for work, and taking on private contracts.
I mean, we traveled a bit. We used to go to all of our national auctioneers conventions.
She's been spotted at various estate auctions, livestock shows, and even charity events, proving that she's not just television ready, but she's the real deal. Her online presence also reflects this commitment. She often shares snippets of her auctioneer life, giving fans a peek behind the curtain into the grind that most reality shows gloss over. And then there's the twist most fans didn't see coming. Emily's second love, music. When she's not commanding bids with her rapid-fire chant, Emily's picking up a guitar and taking center stage with a completely different kind of performance. She's been quietly pursuing a career in country music, playing at small venues, fairs, and festivals, and steadily building a following and her voice. Smooth, warm, and just twangy enough to fit right in with the modern country crowd. What made Emily so interesting on the show was how she didn't scream for attention, but earned it. She carved out space for herself in a world dominated by older, louder personalities, and did it with skill, grace, and her own signature style. And while she may have joined Storage Wars later in the game, she left a lasting impression that fans and bidders won't forget anytime soon. Number 3. Brandy Passante, the resilient star. She didn't just make a name for herself on Storage Wars, she became a fan favorite, a standout, and, let's be honest, the reason a lot of people kept watching. From the very first moment she stepped onto the screen, Brandy brought a sharp mix of brains, boldness, and unfiltered energy to the chaotic world of storage auctions. She wasn't there to play any role. She was just herself. And that's exactly why audiences connected with her. Whether she was throwing side-eye at a ridiculous bid or calling out her partner Jared Schultz for his impulsive choices, Brandy became a reality television icon without ever trying too hard. And her dynamic with Jared was electric. The two ran a thrift store together, bickered constantly, and still managed to function like a power duo. They were the hot and cold couple who constantly kept viewers guessing. Were they flirting or fighting? Was she about to storm off or snag the next big auction win? That unpredictability was television gold. Together, they gave the show some of its most memorable moments. But once the cameras stopped rolling, things weren't as picture-perfect as they seemed. In 2020, Brandy revealed that she and Jared had actually split way back in 2018. A bombshell, considering fans thought they were still together on screen. Their separation marked the end of an era, not just for them, but for the show's original vibe. And while breakups are always complicated, this one came with its own storm. In 2021, Jared was charged with misdemeanor domestic violence after an altercation with Brandy at a bar. It was a tough public moment that pulled back the curtain on what had been going on behind the scenes. As if that wasn't enough, Brandy had her own battles to fight. She caught COVID-19 during the height of the pandemic, but she didn't shy away from sharing her experience. She opened up about the lingering symptoms and the toll it took on her physically and mentally. Later, she also revealed that she'd been diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, a chronic autoimmune condition that affects the thyroid. For anyone else, this might have been a reason to step back, to retreat from the public eye. But not Brandy. She kept going. She stayed vocal, honest, and transparent about her journey, which only made fans respect her more. She returned for Season 15 of Storage Wars, which aired on June 6, 2023, this time solo. No Jared, no messy arguments, just Brandy doing what she does best. She proved that she didn't need the drama of a duo to hold her own. Her presence was confident, calm, and totally in control. It was Brandy 2.0, and fans loved it. But wait, because there's more. Rumors have been swirling about a possible crossover appearance on Pawn Stars. And while nothing's been confirmed, fans are already buzzing. In her personal life, Brandy has found a new sense of peace and stability. She's currently in a relationship with Clifford Beaver, and while she keeps things relatively low-key,
Despite her then newly acquired single status, She wasn't actively seeking a new partner.
It's clear that she's happy. After everything, the heartbreak, health battles, and life under the microscope, Brandy seems to have found her balance. She's also incredibly active on social media, giving her followers a peek into her world through Instagram updates, live chats, and the occasional cheeky post. She's not just maintaining her fan base, she's building it. Number 2. The Harris brothers, Mark and Matt. Mark and Matt Harris, better known as the Harris brothers, weren't your typical Storage Wars bidders. These identical twins didn't just show up to auctions with deep pockets. They brought a whole vibe that earned them the nickname the Kings of Swag. The Harris brothers were all about Hollywood sparkle. So while others were chasing antique furniture or rusty tools, Mark and Matt had their eyes locked on anything with star power. Movie props, celebrity memorabilia, and vintage posters. If it had a hint of fame, they were interested. Their style was flashier, their confidence louder, and their presence impossible to miss. Their time on Storage Wars was quite brief, as they only appeared in seasons 3 and 4, but they were unforgettable. The twins brought something the show hadn't seen before, a touch of red carpet glitz in a world full of dust and junk. With their matching outfits, bold personalities, and insider knowledge of Hollywood culture, they turned every locker into a potential PR goldmine. And honestly, their over-the-top energy made every episode they were in a whole lot more fun. After their time on Storage Wars, Mark and Matt went full throttle with their company, Wow Creations. And it wasn't just some side hustle, it was a full-on celebrity branding business. Together, the brothers specialized in luxury gift bags and high-profile events, working with major Hollywood parties, film festivals, and award shows. And if you've ever seen a star post about a gift suite on Instagram, there's a good chance the Harris brothers had something to do with it. Their post-Storage Wars hustle is proof that some stars don't fade. They just find a shinier stage. And while we haven't seen them bidding on lockers lately, you can bet they're still out there, turning glitz into gold. One VIP guest list at a time. Number 1. Mark Balelo, the High Roller. When Mark Balelo showed up on Storage Wars, it wasn't just another auction. It was a full-blown event. Nicknamed Rico Suave, Mark brought serious flair to the storage scene. He didn't roll up in a dusty pickup truck or a beat-up van like the rest of the cast. Mark arrived in style, often stepping out of a flashy sports car, sunglasses on, confidence through the roof. His energy was unmistakable, his presence impossible to ignore, and his bidding strategy was bold, fast, and fearless. Mark wasn't afraid to drop big money on a unit, even when others hesitated. He had a gut instinct for spotting value, and he backed it up with a wallet to match. But it wasn't just about the money. He brought personality. He was animated, dramatic, and carried himself with a kind of swagger that made every episode he appeared in feel like a mini spectacle. Love him or not, you couldn't look away. Off the screen, Mark ran a successful liquidation business, and it was clear he knew the game. He understood resale value, he had a sharp eye for profit, and he had the charisma to make people listen. For a lot of fans, he was a breath of fresh air, someone who broke the mold of what a typical storage bidder looked like. But tragically, Mark's story took a heartbreaking turn, because in 2013, just a short time after being arrested on substance-related charges, Mark passed away by ending his own life at the age of 40. The news shocked the Storage Wars community and left fans reeling. It was a devastating reminder that behind the larger-than-life television persona was a man facing personal struggles no one fully saw coming. Which cast member's story surprised you the most? Do you think reality television fame helped or hurt their lives? Are you excited about the new season coming up? And who do you hope to see back on screen? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you enjoyed this video, click on the next video on your screen.